Welcome to episode 195 of the No Poo Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Tyler.
I'm Mike.
We are back after a small hiatus. I had some tonsil issues, so I couldn't talk. Mike had a birthday. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
thank you.
But we're back. Not too much has happened as far as, our go-to sport, the NBA, but um there's some things that have happened. World
And I
Cup is
also think
happening.
in the NBA we're getting a much better idea of who some of these teams are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's always interesting.
And a nice view of health, where health stands for a lot of
Yeah.
these players. But I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Uh, let's start with football. Deshaun Watson is back. How do you look to you?
I mean, horrible. He
Absolutely
hasn't played.
horrible.
He hasn't played in years.
Yeah.
He
And
looked like it. I'm not mad at him for that.
and with his suspension, I'm pretty sure he wasn't allowed to get full practice, right?
Yeah, he got cleared to join or enter the facility maybe a week ago.
Right. Yeah.
Which is
I'm
just
yeah.
weird. Why was it like this? Why was he allowed to be in the preseason?
Yeah.
But then he had that big interval of he couldn't do anything with the Browns. And then he had an extra week of practice. It's
Yeah.
so weird to me.
The preseason, I think they let him do the preseason stuff so it didn't go towards his suspension.
Hmm.
Because if I'm thinking, I'm not a legal expert, but I'm thinking, okay, if we suspend him for the preseason games,
Yeah,
that counts as any games. Like if we suspend him for anything,
that is true. They normally
yeah,
don't in the official wording, they don't really differentiate. So
right. So okay, get your preseason games off. We need to suspend you from the real game. So that's that. But yeah, he looked rusty. He looked like someone who hasn't played, and I'm not even sure if the team was allowed to give him conditioning. He might have had to do his own conditioning too, which sucks. And then who is he throwing to? He's not throwing to the team guys.
yeah,
So
man, that to me, you really could tell when a quarterback doesn't practice with receivers.
yeah, I'm not sure if I would have even thrown him out, but I get that they say, well, we better do it now than wait 2 games and have him sit another game. He doesn't have to sit, and then him be rusty when we're looking at maybe making the playoffs, which they're really not. But you know
Yeah,
that situation.
but he and they kind of showed first game how interesting he makes them
They did.
because they won the game and he was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
team, I'm surprised their record is. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed because I thought with Baltimore being a very inconsistent team, with
hmm
Pittsburgh being a borderline bad team,
Yeah.
Cincinnati, you beat. You
Yeah.
you destroyed them on that Monday 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But shit, you're coming into this game under 500.
hmm
You could have came in if you were 2 to 3 games above 500. You're in the driver's seat. It doesn't even matter that Deshaun's not playing well. Your future's it looks bright.
Yeah. And uh, Jacoby, known for being pretty inconsistent anyway.
Right.
Um, so I wasn't too surprised about the big wins, bad losses,
Hmm.
but it would have helped if they had more, if they had more going for them right now. But I'm not sure what else they could have did. They had to get rid of Baker. If they kept Baker,
Oh well, yeah,
who
that's
knows? It could have been
obvious.
different. Yeah, but they had to get
I'm
rid of him.
excited about them, man. I hope they have a busy off season.
Me too.
Because they're a
Me too.
team if they add two difference makers on top of what they already have,
Yeah,
I mean it's easy. The playoff path is there.
yeah, yeah. I completely agree. I completely agree. All right. Next, Lamar hurt his knee. Are you worried?
Not for Lamar, no.
Okay. Too athletic.
Too
And if,
good.
if it wasn't a season-ending injury. They just said it was a what, sprained patella, sprained MCL,
I think so. Yeah, I think he's out
something
about
like
a
that.
month.
Yeah, and
Um,
he's probably a month for everyone else is probably 2.5 weeks for him. You know?
Honestly, man, I draw a lot of parallels to the Dak situation with Dallas,
Yeah.
where like we're at the point now where the Ravens are kind of like trying to make it seem like, our quarterback isn't as good as you guys think he is, which is kind of what Dallas was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
franchise tag, we don't want to pay him long term or gigantic money because he's not that good. Meanwhile, he's
Yeah.
losing signature games. He's losing signature games.
Yeah.
But then when crisis hits and he fucking hurts his ankle,
Mm-hmm.
you realize you're still not better off without him.
Right.
So you have to pay him, which is kind of what the only scenario that I could picture happening here.
Yeah. If they lose him, that'll be one of the biggest NFL stories of the decade.
I mean, and they're as an organization, they become irrelevant instantly.
Yeah, they do. There's no
That's
reason to
that's what
watch it.
kills me. The Ravens have never been irrelevant in my lifetime watching football.
But that's a bad thing because that tells you how little they've done to build the team around him.
100%.
Because to me, I wouldn't say the Dolphins were relevant last year. I mean, they were like on the come up. Like you kind of wanted to see what
Yeah.
they had, but they weren't relevant. As soon as Tyreek Hill gets there, they're relevant.
Uh-huh.
Like immediately. So it's not just quarterbacks that can make teams relevant. It could be a wide receiver. If he left, if the wide receiver was still elite, they would be relevant. But they have
100%.
nothing. They have
Yeah,
nothing.
man. And it's that like their plays fucking suck.
Plays suck. I don't know who's their running back. I still like they run enough for me to know, but I watch and I still won't even know who their go-to running back is.
I mean, like
They don't really
they don't
do have a
block
big
well,
impact.
which is bizarre for a team that's supposed to run. It's turned a lot more into not like strategy run. Lamar,
Mhm.
save us with the heroics run.
It is heroics run. Absolutely.
I think either way, man, I think they fire their offensive coordinator, especially if they miss the playoffs.
I agree.
I mean, their
I
offense just
agree.
looks lame.
It does.
I'll
It
give
does.
you a
And
team. I'll give you a comparison. The 49ers, a team I
uh-huh.
know every week. They don't really trust their quarterback, so they're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
And you watch them play to play, and you have no idea if they're going to reverse, if they're going up the middle, if it's a
Yep.
draw, if it's a fucking screen.
Yep.
I mean, with the Ravens, like, all right, up the middle. All right, Lamar's going to keep it. All right, it's a, play action, but he's still going to take off.
Yeah.
It's just predictable.
It is predictable. It's it's really bad if you have probably the most unpredictable or second most unpredictable quarterback in the league, and your offense is the most predictable in the league.
Sucks. Yeah, that's such a
Yeah,
horrible combination.
yeah. I would just say between him and Josh Allen, probably the two most unpredictable. Holmes is
Yeah.
unpredictable in a different for a different reason. But those two being unpredictable, you can't have your offense that predictable.
I can't imagine if they sit idly by, it looks even worse if they let him go.
Yeah,
Like there has to be, you got to pick a direction. You can't just sit there and be like, all right, well, we're going to suck without you. So here's the fucking bag,
yeah,
which is to me
yeah,
kind of what Dallas did with Dak.
yeah. Yep.
And it doesn't look too good. I mean,
Good
Dallas
segue
looks
to
good, but
Dallas. Good segue to Dallas.
yeah.
Odell at the Mavericks game with the whole Dallas roster with like four other Cowboys. And they look like they're pretty close. Floor seats. Met with the
Yeah.
met with the Cowboys and the I know someone was worried about his progression.
Yeah, apparently he's not cleared to play yet,
Right. Yeah.
which is
Well,
weird because to me, like I was assuming he's coming into play right away.
Yeah, it does seem like it. And he looked like he was walking good, which obviously he's not the same as cutting or anything, but yeah, that tells me that he's not looking for a multi-year deal, which concerns me if I'm the team. Like, yo, if we're gonna pay you just for this year and you're still not ready, what are we talking? What are we meeting for? Now, if he was looking for a 3-year deal, I wouldn't care if he wasn't cleared to play immediately. If
Yeah.
you pass the physical everywhere else, we know was the one thing that's wrong. Because, I mean, I know this at least in basketball. As long as you know the injury, if they pass the rest of the physical, you could still trade them or sign them, whatever. So if I know the one injury you have and you're looking for 3 years, okay, let's manage this year we can, and then next 2 years let's run it back. But that tells me Odell might be only looking for this the rest of this year in a deal, which is whack.
I don't know, man. He's just been so unpredictable this year. Uh
Yeah.
I'm at the point like I don't want him to sneak on a roster like the last week of the season, if that's even possible.
And go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's just weird to me. Like I don't know. I just want him on to figure out where he's gonna fucking play.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's taking so long. It's not like he's like he's not stressing your salary cap to put him on the team.
No, it's not. How do you feel about Dak and Odell though? Do you think that's a good mix, a good match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean prime Odell, I would say no. But this like
Okay.
the if let's say best case scenario, we get the last year's playoff Odell,
Yeah.
like really good route runner, really physical, catches
Yeah.
the big plays really well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy for Dag.
It is. It is. Yeah. People I think people forget because he was on New York how good Odell was. Um if he was in a different market where it wasn't like, the biggest market in the world, if he was in a smaller market, Odell would probably get more praise for how he was. I think for some reason I think it kind of worked in the opposite direction for him. Like most people go to a big market and they get more love. I feel like he didn't get as much love because like, oh yeah, he's on a good team, he's playing with Eli, everybody's good, he's always open, that kind of thing. But if he was like where Tyreek Hill, like position Tyreek Hill was in Kansas City, whereas like we've never seen anything like this on a Kansas City roster in history,
Yeah.
I think Odell might have gotten um, more love in his career, and maybe we wouldn't be at this in this situation
To me, I
without him.
blame the Giants for that a lot though, because
Of course,
they at this time they spent a lot of it being incompetent from a front office to I mean they just now got a good coach after Tom Coughlin, and they've had like
yeah,
five. They've had
yeah.
like five.
Odell's last like 2.5 years there were just a
It's
disaster.
awful.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not even sure how many years he played there, but I know at least 2 years of it was trash.
I honestly, thinking back, I'm not sure what made Eli play for as many years as he did. Like
That's not
Eli
even a
could have
thinking back.
three
I didn't know
years
what
before,
when he was
3 years
playing.
before he could have been like, "Yo, like I'm not getting my ass whooped all year for 6 wins."
Yeah, he definitely could have. Yeah, Victor Cruz and
You know what reminded me actually was Luck talking about why he retired.
what did he say?
His family. Family was a
Oh, okay.
priority. Wanted to focus on being a dad. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I really didn't get why he retired either, but
And that's
it
that
is what it is.
what made it okay was that the Colts were inept. And everybody was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, well, Andrew, I get it. You're getting your ass
Yeah,
whooped all year." That's the same thought process I had with New York for years.
yeah, yeah. Very true. Very true. All right. How do you feel about Garoppolo being done for the year?
Dude, the 49ers, they're so fucking good, first of all.
They are good.
To me,
Um,
most dominant defense in the league.
what is his name? Brock Purdy?
Yeah, the
Is that right?
quarterback, the last draft pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mr.
he looked
Irrelevant,
good,
he's
man.
back.
Which I don't take too much of because I've seen a lot of guys look good for a week. Uh,
Hmm.
but like again with the 49ers, you don't have to be good.
They're one of the few teams that I've ever seen. Yeah. And the Broncos did this for a while. They had a good system where it really doesn't matter what quarterback you have. Like the rest of the system is just so good that
Yeah.
they figure it out. Yeah. And it,
But like the Niners are if you did like a Madden simulation and played a game with every NFL team and only ran screens, other than maybe Miami,
Mhm.
you'd get like a 250 plus yard game from your quarterback just throwing screens.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yep.
Miami you could get more, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're tough. And they have the personnel that makes it a little bit different from the teams that I've seen like that before. Their personnel is just so legit. It's
Yes.
just
And
crazy.
they'll dominate any of the teams that were unsure about their physicality. So
Yeah,
like the
very true.
Cowboys seem tough, but we don't really believe it yet.
Hmm.
I mean, we've seen in the Packers didn't look tough and got exposed multiple times.
Hmm.
Tampa Bay is another team that's like, I mean, they're in a different boat because they're not really playing well, but
Yeah.
they're like tough, but you really only believed in it during their Super Bowl run.
Hmm.
So 49ers exposed those teams to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. All right. What else do I have? Oh, Baker to the Rams. Does it mean anything to you?
No. Good run, Baker.
Uh, Tom, come back, Tom Brady. How do you feel about it? The GOAT.
I can't believe I really can't believe their division is so trash.
Do you think he has played well enough to justify coming back next year?
Oh yeah.
I agree. But it
Tom's
seems like that's
average. He to me he's playing average for his standards,
yeah.
but it's top 10 still in the league to me.
Yeah, and the rest of the team hasn't been consistent at all. They've dealt with so many injuries.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like he
so
has a
many.
different receiver core every week, or suspensions. Um, they got guys who are out for the whole season on both sides of the ball. Um,
I'll tell
so
you what, I'm not sure about the Todd Bowles.
yeah, that too.
Like their defense, bro, you ran the defense. Now you're the head coach and the defense is worse.
Yeah, immediately. He
Yeah,
didn't
and
pick a
it's like
good successor.
it's not like you're playing Miami and you know you can't stop Miami or like Kansas City.
Yeah,
You look inept. You're
right.
making all these mistakes that you used to control.
Yeah, you're right.
So
You're
Tampa Bay
absolutely
is a
right.
fucking mess, and they'll be the scariest mess if they make it to the fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
I would
Yep.
not want to play them in the 49ers. I would not want to play either of them.
Yeah. Lastly, so this was odd to me. Packers came out and said they really want Rodgers to come back next season. But also, either in the same conversation or like then the next day, they said they really want Jordan Love to get more minutes. So like which one is it? If you want Jordan Love to get more minutes, why do you want Rodgers back? If you want Rodgers back, what's the point of giving Jordan Love more minutes?
I can't really understand why they're still pretending like they're fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, or like they have a chance to win the Super Bowl at all. Like,
Like, bro, I'll tell you what, I'll give credit to the Raiders, who were 3 weeks ago were like essentially in the worst situation in the league.
they had some big wins.
big close wins. One like
Yeah.
last play heroic wins. The running
Yeah.
back went crazy a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
They're not flexing like, we're coming back. They're just playing.
Hmm.
The Packers like are pretending like they're a playoff team. Where?
Right.
Your playoff running back who you don't give the ball to, your washed up quarterback who still thinks he's top five, who has an attitude like he's top five.
Yeah. And they're acting like their decisions that they make are gonna like affect anybody. Like, okay, put Jordan Love out there. That means nothing. The rest of the league isn't worried about that. Rodgers coming back. No one cares. Your team,
That's what
no
I'm
one's worried
saying.
about the Packers.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's not like Rodgers coming back for a purpose. There's literally right now, there's no reason to play him.
Yeah. I agree.
None. And you got to
I agree.
figure out, like, I mean, they probably know better than we do, but can fucking Love play or not?
Right.
Been there
And they
4 years and like he's barely touching the field.
I know I can't tell you one thing I've seen him do well. And it's not because he doesn't do anything well, it's because I haven't seen him enough.
And honestly, man, like Rodgers is so toxic. I'm really starting to believe he won those MVPs just to spite the Packers.
Yeah. I mean,
Because you
yeah.
think about it. It was really toxic when they had like a falling out,
Yeah.
and they drafted Jordan Love, and which was he was pissed about,
Hmm.
and he proceeds to eat like statistically.
Yeah.
He's only been eating statistically because he's been horrible in the playoffs. It looks like he
Yep.
doesn't care in the playoffs.
Yep.
But the last 2 seasons, he's been really locked in, and now he got paid, and all of a sudden, MVP Aaron, where'd you go? He
Disappeared.
fucking disappeared to Vegas with Devontae Adams, apparently.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this. Props to this is what separates not just Patrick Mahomes, but I'm just saying Patrick Mahomes right now because I haven't like really thought about a lot of other people. Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Tom. You never attach a wide receiver to them so well that it completely dictates how they play. Like I know everyone over the summer, the media people thought, oh, Patrick Mahomes is gonna be, have a really bad year this year without Cheetah there, without
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill. And he immediately goes and has like the same yards, it maybe even more. And then Tyreek Hill goes and has the same yards he had too, basically, just not as many
Yep.
touchdowns. So he doesn't it doesn't affect him. Lamar obviously doesn't affect him because he doesn't even have a receiver. Hasn't had one. But for Rodgers to lose one receiver, really one, and they replaced, they got other decent receivers on the team. It's not like they went from one to like nothing.
And they
They still have a
drafted
decent,
guys.
and they drafted guys, young legs that had a bad first game, but since then have looked fine. But Rodgers isn't finding them the same. But for that to completely dictate how good Rodgers looks, just says a lot about, you know, Mr. MVP, Mr.
I
Bad
know.
Man. Yeah,
To
says a
me,
lot.
like he's just been average.
Yeah,
But like the difference, Brady's always been a game manager. So Brady at his prime had average looking games.
he had average looking games, and Brady made all the other receivers good. Like all
100%.
those guys he had would be. I mean, when Brady left, they disappeared.
100%. Like Gronk probably would have still had a great career, but he
Yeah,
he
Gronk
wouldn't
still
have
had a
had. He
great
probably
career.
would have had a shorter career because he wouldn't have had the focus.
And he definitely wouldn't have had as many touchdowns.
I know Gronk. I can imagine Gronk being on at the time Oakland Raiders, and then they get moved to Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Oh, Gronk is got like 6 controversies for the year starts.
yeah, yeah. But those some of those other guys, man, who do you have? Burkhart at that time.
Yeah,
Um,
Wes Welker, I remember was there for a long time.
yeah, Welker was still tough, but some of those guys, man, it was only because
Edelman,
of
bro,
Tom.
Julian Edelman was never good. I don't care what
Yeah,
anybody says.
Edelman was only good because of Tom.
A
Edelman is
hundred percent,
short. He's short. He gets wrecked every time he gets hit. It's only because Tom.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but back to the Rodgers though, like
Hmm.
the expectation is so much higher,
Yeah,
and now it's like well, the team isn't helping me. Aaron, you were the team.
yeah,
Aaron,
yeah,
who like you winning MVP validated Matt LaFleur.
yeah.
It valid despite the fact that the
Solely.
49ers were bullying y'all out of the well, it was Tampa Bay first, and then the 49ers twice bullied y'all out the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
And Matt LaFleur was validated anyway. And now
Yeah.
it's everyone else's fault. I mean, we've seen this shit with Aaron. It's just it sucks that the Packers have nowhere to go.
It's all him when they win. It's everybody else when they lose.
Yeah.
That's how he is. Um. Lastly, are you worried about Mahomes not being able to beat the Bengals?
Yeah. But
You're
it's
worried.
not yeah,
Oh,
because the Bengals are
okay.
good. Like they're a contender.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, like the Bengals, they have a really good pass rush, so they could neutralize an elite quarterback like they've done with Mahomes.
Hmm.
I mean, Joe Burrow obviously could go toe to toe with any quarterback on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, their receivers are top tier. They can
Hmm.
run the ball when you least expect it,
Yeah.
and their coach is solid.
Yeah.
Like
And Joe is
this
fearless. Joe
and
Burrow
Joe
is
is a
fearless.
top 3 to 5 leader easily.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Easily. I mean,
Absolutely.
bro, he probably has the most pocket poise out of any QB in the league.
I would agree, yeah. Because he's
Like,
never mobile either. He just like, all right, they're
yeah,
coming,
and I
cool.
mean this past Kansas City game, he actually ran a lot more than I'm used to.
Yeah. Surprised.
But bro,
It was a
like they
surprise.
pressured him. I thought they pressured him a lot, and it didn't
They
matter
did.
at all.
No.
At all, that late throw to I can't remember who it was, but it was just like bro, how did you throw it that accurately?
He was locked in.
Man,
He was locked in.
he's and they're clicking at the best time, just like last year. You have to
Yeah.
in the NFL, you gotta ride the momentum into the playoffs,
Yeah.
and the Bengals are doing just that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm completely with you. I'm not worried. I think that the last game kind of had some fluke stuff happen. Um, but record wise, I am worried because record wise, I mean, the Chiefs they're a game apart, really.
Yeah,
So I mean, the Chiefs basically have to win every game
which they
or be
can.
at risk. Yeah, which of course they can. Which or they're at risk of, the Bengals knocking them out again, or at
As
least
a
being
matter
on
of
their
fact,
backs.
who did the Chiefs play the rest of the year? Because I know
You
there's
know,
some
I have to
division games
sometimes.
in there, and that's going to be easy wins.
Let's see, Chiefs. They play. They shouldn't lose any games.
They play the fucking Broncos twice. Are you kidding me?
Broncos, Texans, Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders.
They get the Broncos twice. Who made
Yeah.
this scheduled for them to walk into the playoffs with no pressure?
Well, think that wasn't going to be a walk in until we saw how the Broncos are
All right,
now.
no, you're right. You know what? That actually makes me a little more nervous about the Chiefs, because I don't
Let's see
want
who.
them to walk in easily. Like I need them to be ready. I don't want them to have a bye week.
But Mahomes is always ready. Is on the
That
other
is true.
guys. Hopefully the other guys are ready, but Mahomes will be ready. But the Bengals,
But so is
they
Joe
have
Burr.
they have the Browns, but the Bucks, the Patriots, the Bills, and the Ravens last. The Bills and Ravens, and Lamar will be back
NFL,
for
what
that.
the hell is this?
Lamar will be back for that Ravens
No,
game.
I get it. They went to the Super Bowl last year, so I understand.
Yeah.
But like
They
the Bengals they're so fucking good. I really can't picture them losing too many games.
but the Bucks, the Bills and Ravens are very losable games. They're good enough
100%.
to win them, but
Yeah.
I would not be shocked at all if they lose all three of them, to be honest. Um again, like I said, Lamar should be back for that one. That's on the 8th, January 8th. That's plenty of time. They so and you got to think the Bills won't be worried about that, but if Lamar comes back and the Ravens need to win that game, there is going to be even tougher because
Yeah.
the Ravens' back will be against the wall too. So
It's weird to me. Like I'm not really sure who's gonna get the bye week because I know it's one team now, right?
yeah, yeah.
Then only the number one seed, which is kind of cool. But the Bengals are the only team that can benefit off the bye week to me.
Oh, the Bengals and Ravens are both in the AFC North, so that game will
Right.
be the deciding game, probably, depending again
In
what Tyler
AFC
Huntley
North
does.
games, you can never. I mean, Pittsburgh beat uh the Bengals this year.
Hmm.
But man,
And Deshaun is
the
back.
AFC is. I'm so happy that the Bengals are clicking at such a good time.
Yeah, they almost have to. I mean, looking at their schedule, they need to be good right now.
Yeah. I'm
Basically,
I'm
I
more
mean,
worried about them if I'm the Chiefs than the Bills. I mean, the Bills just lost Von Miller
yeah,
for the year, so and they were already kind of playing suspect as far as looking like a premier team.
he's out for the season.
Von Miller, yeah, torn
Yeah.
ACL.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah, man, it sucked. Announced it today, but
they're
I
gonna have to
just
go back to offense only, basically.
it's funny how fast the NFL moves. Like 4 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, if you went like rank these three and you went Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen,
Hmm.
Joe Burrow would be the clear third.
Yeah,
And then you keep watching Joe in these like key games and these massive games, and he's the calmest, coolest guy on the field.
yeah.
Like he never does things that impress me more than like Josh Allen does or Mahomes does.
Mhm.
But he really does deserve the Brady comparisons, man.
I agree. I agree. I think that probably is his
He's
best
probably the
comparison.
first one that I'm not like Brady's such a GOAT. I don't even want to consider it. With Joe, I do see some of the same characteristics.
Yeah, and he's just younger in this new era of the game, so he gets a little more
Yeah.
like that run he did. Tom would never have done that run, but that's just how football is now. So, I mean,
It's crazy that Cincinnati's set up to compete in the AFC for years.
oh yeah, yeah. They're
Years.
young.
Like
Everyone is young on the team, it
everyone
feels
is
like.
young, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. They do have the Browns next, and Watson. I don't. We'll see what Watson looks like that game, but that could easily be that could easily be an easy dub for them. But it also
Yeah.
could be a breakout for Watson. So we'll see. That's all I have for football. Do you have any other topics for football? I didn't really need to get into any particular games.
Uh
I was
man,
just trying to catch us up.
yeah. I mean, I don't really have a question, but it's wild how much Arizona is falling apart.
They're almost unwatchable now.
They're horrible.
Yeah.
Like the Broncos are horrible offensively, but there's some entertainment to how Russ behaved all offseason and now to him struggling.
Hmm.
But Arizona is just like it's just gross.
Yeah. It is. Um. It is, and it doesn't look like they have any saving grace.
No.
It just looks like they suck, and they're just gonna keep sucking.
It feels like Larry
So
Fitzgerald retired and he took the high
the whole
character values with him.
yeah, I was gonna say the whole culture, his whole culture just left the team with him.
Because you put a guy who splits his time between football and Warzone, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know how good of a leader he could really be.
It's bad when you look him up. Like a lot of the pictures and memes of him show him in front of the computer, or in front of the Xbox or the PS5, whatever he
Bro,
has.
he's gotta get the uh the double XP weekend game stats. He's gotta pick those up because if we're coming back in 3 years and he's like
Yeah,
significantly struggling in those, oh my god, dude. He's gonna get clowned the rest of his life.
yeah, he is. He is. I mean, he's good, got a good chance of getting clowned the rest of his life either way. Unfortunately.
Their coach is on borrowed time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because their roster is not bad enough to be playing how they're playing at
Their
all.
roster is great.
Yeah, there's
Great.
a
And
few injuries here and there, but
it'll
everything else is
probably
good.
be the premier coaching job in the
I would
offseason.
see who else. Yeah, I don't think anyone else is really even on the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean there'll probably be someone surprising, some random shit like maybe what's his name? The Rams coach retires,
Yeah, yeah.
like some crazy. But besides that, I mean, the only jobs I could really, the Colts, not really. Like I don't really care. The Broncos,
Jeff Saturday's keeping that job. I think.
I doubt it. But okay,
I think he's keeping it.
we'll come back to this. The same Jeff Saturday who just let the Cowboys get like 35 and a quarter.
You tell me, did it matter who was coaching them in that game?
Oh no.
So,
They're hopeless. They're hopeless regardless.
yeah,
Matt
so I don't.
Ryan, I've never seen a guy like go from half decent to completely washed up live and like in front of my eyes.
Mhm.
It really hurt to watch.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that the stuff that happens to them is gonna affect him really. I think the off season they're just gonna, like I said, I think they're doing this to avoid a lot of the interviews that they're supposed to do. So I think they're just gonna keep him. Let him run it back. Let him get an off season to mold the team in his image, and then let's
I
do it.
do. I will say we talk about culture a lot with coaching, and he does fit that.
Yeah,
Like obviously he doesn't
yes,
have the experience, and everybody's hating him for that. But you could surround him with people with experience.
yeah,
Like that's not a hard thing to do. If he sets the right culture, like there's
hmm
guys who I'm not sure are good coaches who just set a good culture and have like just kind of propelled the team forward that way.
yeah. And the we talked about it last podcast. The team is full of experience.
Yeah.
Like the bench. I mean the rest of the staff is full of experience.
Yeah.
25, 35, double digit years all around. So um I don't think that the organization was stale all the way through. I do think that they just needed new leadership. So I think I'm with you. I think he can build a culture and take the team to another level. But Matt Ryan isn't it.
No,
Philip
I was
Rivers
wrong on
wasn't
that
it.
one. He was washed up, just full blown.
I've never seen a team go through three quarterbacks this bad in a row before. Rivers,
Yeah.
Wentz, and Ryan.
And they're all doing the same like dumb shit,
Yeah, the
which
Panthers.
is
I guess the Panthers did too this recently. Go through three really
it's a
bad ones,
weird
but
trend though, because like when Rivers was doing it, I was like, wow, I've never seen somebody throw fourth quarter passes with their helmet backwards. And then I saw Carson Wentz do it. And I'm like, yo, I've never seen guys throw it away to the other team when they're deciding the game.
Yeah.
And now Matt Ryan has lost his mind. And I'm like, yo, these guys
The
were not this trash when they got here, or when they, with Rivers, he wasn't that trash up until that point.
funny thing is, the Colts, I don't know where they recruit like their quarterbacks because every quarterback they get since basically since Peyton left, to me, has been like overrated in how they look at them or how the league looks at them. Like I
It's
can't
weird.
think of one quarterback that was like, oh yeah, he's as good as everyone says he is. That the Colts get. Everyone is like, even Luck was good. What some of the talk around Luck was like,
He's like an all-time GOAT. I was like, I don't see all that.
yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's pretty
He's
good,
tough.
but like,
It's.
yeah. And then he goes and they think, Rivers is a Hall of Famer, so they just grab a Hall of Famer. And then Wentz was overrated, been overrated. They go for that. And then now, I won't say Ryan was necessarily overrated, but I think people underrated the rest of the Atlanta team. They made it seem
Yeah.
like he was just out there by himself and he really had a decent squad.
And
Part of
and
them
a
not
lot
giving
of people
credit to him.
forget his MVP year. He had Kyle Shanahan,
Yes.
who since becoming a head coach looks like one of the best coaches in the league.
And Julio, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
prime Julio, healthy, not missing games every other fucking week. Julio,
Julio was ridiculous at that time. Absolutely ridiculous.
hell yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, dude, I had to mention last one.
Uh-huh.
I found it hilarious that the Titans GM got fired
Hmm.
after AJ Brown destroyed them.
That is kind of a coincidence. Yeah.
100%, because
And he
they have
wrecked them.
no passing game, no deep threat without him,
Yeah.
and like they really did it with him, to be
I know.
honest.
Yeah, because
But now it's
I
like
always have to be
glaring.
reminded. I always have to be reminded he was even there.
100%, dude. There'd be so many games where I'm like, oh yeah, AJ Brown, like he's good.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
it's not embarrassing to get blown out uh by Philly. Like that's a given. They've done it to almost everyone they played.
Yeah.
Bro, you had to have you had to have been coming in preparing for this game. Like, yo, there's no shot. Like, okay, maybe Hurts runs over us. Maybe they run us to death. Maybe Devontae gets off.
Not the guy we've had in practice
Not
for
the guy we
years.
traded, and the entire city of Tennessee hated that we traded him.
The player we developed to even be that good.
Yeah, the guy we were trying to convince y'all is not that good. We're not letting him get 2 touchdowns and like 140 yards.
Is that the game? Did the Eagles even punt that game? I know I was watching one
I didn't
game.
see. I only saw the highlights. It didn't look like it.
I watched the highlights of one game where they said the team didn't even punt the whole night. I think it was that game, which is
Well,
crazy, but
Allen did it against the Patriots. Remember in the playoffs when it was like
yeah,
47-15.
yep, yep, yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty crazy coincidence too. I almost felt a little bit bad, but I get
Yeah,
it. I mean,
because I mean, the Titans aren't like trash. They've been good. They've exceeded
yeah,
expectations almost every year. Of of
yeah.
of the GMs, if you asked me to list all the GMs in the order which I'd fire them, he'd be in the bottom 10.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Bro,
think they've made good moves. They've made moves to get younger or better every year.
I stay forgetting they were the number 1 seed last year.
Yeah,
And like a worthy number 1 seed. It wasn't really a fluke.
yeah. And Henry
It's
was
crazy.
obviously the best,
Oh yeah.
one of the best offensive players in the league last 3 years.
Yeah.
And they kind of overestimate Tannehill too. I think they kind of act like everyone else. Like when they don't have good games, they forget that a lot of it is because they have Tannehill. They act like it's the rest of the team that needs to get better. I'm like, or you could just replace Tannehill and you guys might get better immediately. But
Yeah.
no, it is what it is. They like Tannehill. He's really cheap too, so um,
Tannehill does
worth
that
keeping.
thing too, like where it's almost like it's the Fitzpatrick thing.
plays just good enough to not
Yeah, like
need
he'll
to
have a
get
game where he's
replaced.
like a sniper and he's just
Yeah,
throwing like sideline darts. And I'm like, who am I watching?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
Kirk
He
Cousins
does.
does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's almost the same.
Danny
But
Dimes kind of does it too sometimes.
a little bit, yeah. But like at this point, we've seen enough of Tannehill to know that he's not it.
And I mean, and the league quarterbacks are getting younger and younger, and
More
like this
athletic.
is right. This time, I think is a evolutionary time for quarterbacks in the NFL, where it's like every quarterback is around the same age. I don't think, at least in our lifetimes, we've lived through a time like that where everybody was in their like mid 20s. All
Yeah.
the best quarterbacks in the league are all mid 20s. It was always like, oh, there's one guy that's on his way out and he's still probably the best. They don't have anyone like that right now, not in the
Yeah.
last 2 or 3 years. So yeah, Tannehill. If they ever make that decision, I think they see a change right away. Right away.
Shout out to Philly,
But
by the way. The Super Bowl run is right there. Just go ahead and go for it.
yeah, Philly looks tough, man. It's so tough.
Hurts Hurts locking up that MVP.
Yeah, he is.
I
He
love
is.
it. I love it.
Mahomes might have blown his in his last game, and it really wasn't his fault. I've
Yeah.
never seen Kelsey get stripped. I think maybe once, like since I've been watching the Chiefs like every
Yeah.
game. I think I've seen Kelsey get stripped once, and for that to happen, that was a freak accident kind of thing in the game.
And it killed their momentum.
It did, because if that didn't happen, it was a wrap. It was
Mm-hmm.
pretty much a wrap.
Yeah, they
So
seal it essentially.
yeah, so that sucked. But yeah, Hurts, he got it. Hurts is winning MVP is gonna be so sweet, man.
Oh,
So sweet.
yes.
So sweet. Seeing someone get messed with that first year like he did, and that Wentz situation was just so disgusting.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it
Oh
gotta feel
God.
great to be
I
QB right now.
still am grossed. I mean, we talked about it not that long ago. I it's
It's
just
hard not to talk
gross.
about every time I think about it.
I mean,
I want
Doug
to
Peterson,
express my anger again.
yeah, bro. It makes me he's coaching in the league right now.
I
And
know,
he
and he did it really well.
disrespected the game at like the most pure level that you can.
They ain't got a coach who really hasn't coached before to come out here and is easy. All he needed was the other quarterback. That
Bro, and
simple.
everybody thought Sirianni was garbage when he first got there.
I like Sirianni a lot.
I do too.
I
He's
love him.
weird looking. He has like a weird energy to him.
He's really cool. He seems really cool. Like
Yeah.
seems like he hangs out with the guys,
Yeah. And
which is cool for.
Mike Daniel
Yeah.
has this with the Dolphins too. Like you just feel how easy it is for him to like communicate and connect with the players.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
a lot of times that's all it takes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay. Let's transition to the league real quick. The
Yeah.
association. Um,
Where do you want to start?
I don't know, man. Well,
Let's
we
start
have to
with
start
something
with Anthony
positive.
Davis.
Oh,
We have
Anthony
to start with Anthony
Davis.
Davis.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, only since the last pod, he's been averaging like 50 points a game, basically. He's been having like a crazy, like one of the craziest stretches in NBA history as a big man. Lakers' record still is whack, but
Listen,
they are 7-3 in their last 10.
he put up 55 against probably the worst pick and roll defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Uh so that sucked to watch, but
For the listeners who don't already know,
talking about the
Mike
Wizards.
Mike lives in DC, so when we talk about the Wizards, this is why he likes to try to avert the conversations. But yes, 55 and 17. What a game!
It looked
Look,
really
we don't
fun.
have to.
He didn't really break a sweat, to be honest.
We don't have to hone in on that game though,
No, no,
because
no. Because the Milwaukee performance was like the real MVP dominant performance.
he's been handing out beat downs all freaking month, dude. 50 in the last, I'll just say last, I'll just keep saying until, I stop. 55 and 17 last game. Game before that, 45, 44 and 10, 27 and 12, 25 and 13 and 6, 25, 15, 37 and 21. Phoenix 21 rebounds. 30 and 18, 38 and 16, 37 and 18, 24 and 14. And that before that, he was basically average. But he's been a monster.
Honestly, man, like, what do you think it is? Because all the things they've done well this stretch is things
Yeah.
I've asked for the last year and a half.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what it is. And it kind of annoys me that I don't know because I know it's not Darvin Ham. I know that that's what they want us to believe.
I know.
It's not. It's
It's not.
because they want us to really believe that. But if it was, it would have started when the season started.
I know.
It could be health. That could be something, or it could
Yeah.
just be like when LeBron went out, it could have been him saying, "Look, I need to pick up my slack," and he did, and he just never put the slack back down.
I mean, dude, every time we talked about Anthony Davis last year, I was begging this guy to fucking rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's on the glass, and all of a sudden, his entire game is back. All of a sudden, his touch around the rim is elite. Last year, all he did was miss layups.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now you watch him, he's like one of the strongest bigs in the league.
He's
I
leading the
mean,
league in rebounds right now.
yeah, last year he couldn't back down anyone.
Nope.
Bro, his jump shot is coming back.
Yeah, and
Like
he
literally his entire game.
he's attacking mismatches finally, which is what we've asked for a year and a half now. He
Yes.
attacks every mismatch. His the percentage of jump shots he's taking has went down. I saw this on, I forgot who said this, but yeah, his highest percentage of jump shots was beginning of this year, last year is down. He's getting putbacks. He's getting offensive rebounds. He's become a
He's
completely different player.
Bro,
Flip the
he's
switch.
working hard.
He is.
That's all it is. Like to skill wise, he's not really. Nobody thought he was washed up.
The Lakers, Westbrook and AD, you know how in Space Jam, all Daffy needed was water. He wasn't playing that. The water didn't actually make him any different. Jordan just said, "Yo, just drink this," and all of a sudden he went out there like a monster. That's all the Lakers have needed was water. Just like there was
Bro,
nothing wrong.
dude, how do they go from Russ and AD look like they should never touch a basketball court together to all of a sudden they're like the best pick and roll duo in the league?
Yeah,
How does the adjustment so night and day?
this the special the Jordan special drink. That's all it was, man. Because like AD did nothing, and all of a sudden he comes out aggressive. Whoa! I didn't know I could do this. Like
Yeah.
it's all we've been asking for all this time.
I am happy that the Lakers are like getting respectable. And we talked about it early in the year that at least there was a blueprint for them to be decent.
Yeah,
Last year, it was just like hopeless in every way.
right.
But now, like, there's some upside to how the season is going, even though you're not at 500 yet.
Hmm.
Like, you now have an actual future, or at least this season, that you can be excited about.
Yeah, yeah, and Westbrook went 2 games without a turnover for the first time in his how many years has he been in the league? 13?
13 years.
13-year career. Congratulations, Russell. 2 games without turnovers in 13 years.
Dude. Like
Part of it
it
is because
makes
he
you want
comes
to
off the bench.
cry. It makes you want to cry like Russ. It took almost a decade and a half for you to look like a real point guard?
Oh,
Dude,
but
he's
now
driving, bro. Russ is actually like again, another like the fact that it took 13 years for me to see this. Russell is controlling games. And
it's
it's not
misleading.
putting up 30, 10, and 10.
It's misleading because up until this year, Westbrook has led the league in minutes like every year. So
All his fucking stats are misleading. His shooting percentages are misleading.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I
His
was gonna say
his
his
good
turnovers
free
per
throw
minute.
percentage years ago was misleading.
I know it's garbage now. You know what else has really helped them not playing Pat Bev that much has helped a lot.
Hey,
Been
shout
a
out to Darwin Ham
great
for that
move.
one. That's a good coaching move right there.
Cutting Matt Ryan.
W.
Uh,
Guy, we cut guys who can't check people. That's what a fucking playoff team does.
I haven't seen Toscano Anderson have a lot of minutes. He's really basically had DNPs, so that's been
Yeah,
great.
he was playing like try. He couldn't make open shots. Fuck him.
They got Schroeder back.
Bryant
They
back.
found a role for Kendrick Nunn, which is just jack shots and just let Anthony Davis get the rebound. Just add to Anthony Davis's rebound numbers. Uh, and I was missing one. Who else came back? Oh,
Bryant.
Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant came back, yes, and he's
Who looks
been
really good off the
fantastic.
bench. He's never really looked good as a starter, but he's often looked good off the bench.
Has great energy. I've
Yeah.
always liked his energy, even at Indiana. I mean, when he was in college, he that was just his thing: energy, energy, energy.
Yep.
So yeah, man. And did you know LeBron is taking more shots than he's ever taken in his career? Like since I'm not his whole career. I'm sorry, since his first time in Cleveland, the first stint in Cleveland.
Yeah, man. LeBron, I'm not really I don't really want to deep dive what he's been doing, but it's been kind of random.
Yeah, it has.
He hasn't really like he hasn't been consistent with anything.
Yeah,
And the layup epidemic is hit him hard. Oh my god. The
he's been blowing
chippies, the
layups.
fucking bunnies, dude. Oh, like dude, you got to get in the lab and we got to really take it back to the basics of make layups and warm-ups, bruh.
I will say this though, when your bounce isn't there like it used to be, like the depth, like the layup is weird, man. I
No, you're
assume
right.
for LeBron, because I know he's not jumping as high as he used to. I mean, I think this is the first year where it's actually noticeable. Well, since he's been on Lakers, it's been noticeable, but this year is really noticeable. But I mean, he's getting his people are going for his dunks now, trying to block his dunks,
Yeah.
trying to block his layups. People aren't even worried about him blocking their shot anymore.
That's because he's slipped as a defender. Like he's
Yeah,
probably been a lot of times their weaker link on the court. Trying to fucking like, bro, AD is dominating on both ends. Why are you conserving energy?
yeah, don't need it. Don't need it. Especially AD can do it for so long. He's playing a lot
And
of minutes
his
too.
yeah, and AD, we know that's not gonna last.
No.
Uh, but with LeBron, bro, like your shooting percentage from the perimeter is horrible. You
Yeah.
got to clean up the kinds of shots you take.
Yeah.
Like we don't really need the baseline turnaround all the I know it's a go-to, but
Mm-hmm. Of
do we really need it every mid-post ISO?
course not.
No. And I would like to see LeBron kind of like push this team forward a little bit more.
I agree. I completely agree. I completely agree. We'll see what happens with them. Um, moving on. Who do you want to talk about? You had someone you said you were gonna say.
No, I just wanted to talk about somebody positive,
Mm-hmm.
somebody you've
Oh, okay.
liked.
Um,
You give me a
I
team,
don't
I'll
really
give you a team.
I don't really have many other positives. I'll say the Pelicans are starting to get more healthy. I am liking what I'm seeing with them. I mean, it seems like the Pelicans this year have had more breakout games for players than I've ever seen on a team in the NBA. Like every game is somebody new that's like, whoa, I didn't know he was that good. Alvarado gets like, what did he have, 42 the other night? Something
Something
ridiculous.
insane.
Trey Murphy had a game where he hit like a crazy amount of threes. Herb Jones, like,
Herb Jones gets
um,
like game-winning stops for them.
he had a game where he had like a crazy amount of steals or like a record deflections night or something like that. And then block someone for the game winner. I don't remember which game it was, but I didn't really prepare for that. But he's had moments where it's like, is he the best defender in the league? Um, and they just look good. They're hitting a lot of cylinders with their offense. Um, but I will say another team I have liked since you asked is I really like what the Kings are doing. I'll talk about the Pacers though. I love how the
Ah,
Pacers look, man. I do. I like them, but they keep getting hurt. Everybody gets hurt, and we still know Buddy and Turner still
most
have been on
likely
the trading
moving.
block. They've been on the trading block for like longer than anyone in like NBA history, especially Turner. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. I don't know if I would trade them if I'm them, if I'm Indiana. I really like how this team looks, and they work really hard when they're there. When Buddy and Turner are both there, this team looks like a complete team. Not saying they're a contender, they're not, but they look like a team that is. They definitely look like a playoff team. They look like the team they did a couple years ago, where when they did make the playoffs, and when T.J. Warren was like had that really good year.
Hmm.
What year was that? Was that the year before the bubble? I think something like that.
I think so.
But
I think they can move Buddy, to be honest. Turner they
Buddy,
need for kind of like the versatility they've shown.
or at least a replacement.
But you know what I really like is coming into the season, we were only excited about if Buddy and Miles Turner get moved, where are they going?
Mm-hmm.
To me, yeah, they don't have to move them, but I'm excited for what they could get back.
I like that. I like that thought process. I agree because now I'm looking at this team like who could really take this team over the edge to be an actual contender at this point. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
stars out there who are kind of in places where they don't know what's going on. They don't really know what they're doing. That if the team is desperate enough, and Buddy Turner and one of these young guys that are playing fantastic, a Nimbard, they're not going to trade Matherin, but Duarte, um,
Duarte getting
Brissett,
healthy is really nice.
yeah, but any of those guys with Buddy and Turner is a really good trade for a team. You
Hmm.
know, I'm not saying Portland would move Dame, but I'm saying if Indiana could swing getting someone that of that level, an all-star for those three guys, I think it's a decent trade. I would look at it. I wouldn't hang up the phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I am really curious to see what they could get for those guys, and
It's
they
interesting.
got the
Indiana
bones.
was the team that tried to sign Aiton, weren't they?
Yes,
Very, very curious how they would have looked if they actually got him.
I think they would look really good.
Been
He's a
interesting.
better screen setter, more
He's much more
more
disciplined than Turner at
and
like big man shit.
more hungry rebounder than Turner.
Yeah. Much
Uh,
better touch around the rim.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It would have been interesting. Um, Buddy, they could move. I just don't know unless Buddy is a part of a bigger trade. I just don't know what a return for Buddy is. Like I'm looking throughout the league, and I like Buddy a lot. I think he's really good. He's obviously one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. But I'm looking around the league like who would I give up only for Buddy? And I can't think of a lot of names that are like on equal level to for Buddy. Because he's kind of a weird spot because he's one of those guys who can lead this Indiana team in scoring, but he'd be like the third or fourth best scorer on a contender.
Yeah.
So who's the third or fourth best scorer on a contender that you would trade? That's that's the thing you got to think about with him. But yeah, I like Indiana, man. Shout out to Nimbard. I since the draft, I told you on draft night I was really excited to see what he did. Um, he's leveling up for them. He slow start, but huge game against the Warriors, game winner against the Lakers. He's gonna have some consistent minutes for them. We know how
Yeah.
Carlisle works.
Oh yeah.
Once Carlisle finds a young guy he likes, he runs with him for a long time. We saw it with Crowder, uh, guys like that, Finney Smith.
He
So
gave guys runs that like I personally would have given up on. Like
yeah,
he extended OJ Mayo's career probably a little bit longer than he should have.
Darren Williams' career was a lot
Oh yeah.
longer. Um,
They gave Devin
Monte
Harris a
Ellis,
chance.
Devin Harris, he had for a long time. JJ Barea played until he wanted to stop.
Yeah.
Monte Ellis would fight with him and still be playing.
Yeah.
Uh, Rondo fought with him in the game and kept playing.
Rondo dead ass quit on him. That was weird.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So like to see him with this team. I mean, they're not stacked in the uh, direct definition of stacked, but they're a team where I look at their roster, everyone they put in the game does something positive for them. I never see a bunch of guys in there or someone that comes in. I'm like, man, they really had to put him in. I never think that. Everyone that comes in for them comes in and does something immediately,
Yeah.
and you see what they do well every night.
Yeah.
So, so who do you got? What team do you like?
You stole mine. I was gonna talk about Indiana.
Well, tell me
Which
more. Tell me.
completely I don't know why I didn't think you were gonna say Indiana. I was really sure. No, man, their chemistry is really good.
It is.
That's the biggest thing. Pelicans were another team you mentioned. Same thing. Like, and with the Pelicans, it's a lot more surprising because you would think it would be harder to put all that together.
Yeah.
But I mean, their role guys are starring in their roles. Ingram looks like a top 10 player. McCollum looks like a floor general, which I begged him to be in Portland, and he never was.
Yep.
All of a sudden, he gets here and he looks like he's been a floor general for years.
Yep.
And Zion, I mean, we knew Zion was a freak. It doesn't surprise
Yeah.
me that nobody can stop him at the rim.
Yeah. Yep.
His quickness is always just weird because he's so massive.
And he's a surprisingly good passer.
Yeah.
I mean, his court vision has impressed me since he's been in the league because I really didn't think he was going to have good court vision.
Well, it's interesting. He handles the ball more than you would expect,
Mm-hmm.
but it's never like, yo, make like dribble to do more stuff. Like it's very natural, very seamless of him just being aggressive.
Yeah.
So it never causes any kind of issues with ball movement. He's still mostly a traditional big man with how he swings it side to side, how he looks to screen and roll with guys.
Yep.
He's just creative with it.
Yeah. He is. Yep.
And I mean, Willie Green is like I can't think of the comparison, but he's like a director shooting a masterpiece. You know,
That's a good comparison right there.
he's
Yeah.
yeah, he's like a singer like putting together his greatest album.
Yeah.
He's
He is.
put he's this team's chemistry is so flawless.
And every time we see one of those breakout games, it feels like he's like a song just leaked.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Jose Alvarado 40-point game is definitely like a single leaking out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a chef making a flawless dish, and
Yeah.
in the midst of it, he keeps coming up with shit to make it even better.
Yep. Yep.
Like he just throw it like, oh, let's throw like fucking whatever in it. Oh, even better.
Yeah. And
But
it
honestly,
it
man,
is
with this trio, I really didn't expect. I really thought somebody wouldn't get enough shots.
between Ingram, Zion, and CJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought either CJ or Ingram would take a severe step back, but they
Hmm.
move the ball so well. They play at such a good pace that, like,
Yep.
okay, sometimes mathematically, sure, CJ shoots less, but it's
Mhm.
within the offense. Everything they do is within an offense.
And and that's a good point because I never imagined the rest of the team would get enough shots to do to like contribute.
Yeah.
Like the Herb Joneses, the Trey
Hmm.
Murphys. I never imagined that with Ingram, who I always looked at as kind of a ball dominant, not ball hog, but someone who needs the ball a lot to score.
Yeah.
I never imagined with him those guys would get so many looks and get to actually make plays. Not just they're not even just catch and shoot players. Like Trey Murphy can get ISOs out the corner.
Hmm.
He looks amazing coming out that corner, by the way.
They're
Um,
letting Graham make more decisions too.
finally, yeah. And
Right.
then their bench, man. I mean, we talked about it. Jackson Hayes really doesn't even play much for them, but their bench is just fantastic. Everyone who comes in does something well immediately. And Larry Nance is just a legendary. He's like a legendary bench guy at this point for me. Everywhere he goes, every bench he's on, he comes in and he looks like is like he looks like the team needs him, even though they
Yeah.
don't. He always makes it look like, yeah, I'm
He
here for
looks
a reason.
vital to every lineup he's a part of.
He absolutely does. I mean, since the Lakers, since the Cavs, all those teams, he's worked really well with them. So yeah, I like them a lot. They're tough.
Yeah.
They're tough. If they could just stay healthy for like a good stretch, just please, can everyone be healthy at the same time for like 10 games? I just want to see it for 10 full games.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I hope for it.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'll give
Um,
you two teams I do like that a lot of because their record isn't great, a lot of people are kind of either one team they're hating on, one team people are kind of ignoring.
okay.
I'll give you the team people are ignoring. The Raptors are doing what they normally do.
Yes, they
Competing
are.
harder than a lot of teams, winning more games than they're supposed to, and guys exceeding expectations.
Yep.
Now, because it's not we talked about this coming into the year. This is my third or second year expecting Siakam to ascend, and at this point I'm done. It's not happening. He's peaked, and he's a great player,
Yeah.
but he's like an elite second option,
Hmm.
like a top tier second option, especially because he's all over the place and he impacts the game in a bunch of ways.
Yeah.
He's almost like a big man version of DeJounte Murray,
Okay.
where
Hmm.
they play very similar, very control the ball, attack guys who can't guard me, um, like force shots and force drives to my comfort areas.
Hmm.
But they're winning. They're winning with everyone else stepping up, which is what they normally do.
Yeah. Um, OG has taken a step forward as
As I thought he would.
and I thought he would too, but what's funny is it's really not in like not in stuff that people normally take step forwards in. Like I don't think he's a much better shooter. I don't think he's a much better ball handler, but the intangibles I notice all of it. He like defends every position now. Like
Hmm.
before he defended wings really well. Now he can check guards full court. Now he's like helping out on power forwards that are trying to back him down and they can't back him down. Like now he's all over the place as a defender. Is like can't think of a defender right now off the top of my head, but he's someone who I just have no problem, no matter who he's guarding, that he's gonna guard them well. Um, I think Scotty Barnes, I won't say took a step back, but took a step like inward into being into the team now. I think last year it was like I guess it was considered a breakout year for him, even though it was his rookie season. But his rookie season, it felt like they just put Scotty Barnes on this team. Now it's like Scotty Barnes is just a Raptor now. I don't know if that makes sense. Like
No, I see what you mean.
last year, it seemed like he was trying to acclimate into the culture, and now it seems like he's fully into it, and it just seems more controlled. Seems like he just really fits into them now. He doesn't play outside of his game. He isn't having those explosive nights in scoring or anything like that, but he's playing his role now for this team perfectly. But they still look like a team that is missing something that can take them to the next level because as you said, Siakam really isn't a number one. Um,
Yeah. And
but they
that's where I worry about their ceiling
right,
because I've
yeah,
seen them exceed expectations all year, and then we're in the playoffs. Like, wow, Toronto sucks at fucking scoring,
hmm
and that's exactly what's going to happen. Because in the playoffs, guys have to do more than what they're already doing. And to your point, OG's kind of peaking, at least
yeah,
to this extent. Siakam seems to have peaked. I
hmm
mean, Van Fleet, we kind of know what he is. He's really, I mean, how he's really not going to get better.
right,
Barnes to me has been like slightly an X factor,
hmm
but not significant enough to where he's changing a playoff series.
right,
And
right,
and then what comes back is their bench, which again, their bench exceeds expectations, but they're not good.
right.
And
They
I like what I'm seeing from Toronto. I just
mhm.
hope they don't get comfortable just winning more than they should.
Yeah, they're in a situation that I Memphis kind of was in for a while after Rudy Gay left,
Long
where it was
time.
like we're good as the eighth seed, seventh seed every year, but our draft picks make us no better, and no one really wants to play here. So we're not gonna like get good enough where we attract somebody. So it just keeps getting there. And I'm talking about the Conley years. Obviously, they got bad enough to get Ja at some point, but for a while it was just yeah, they're good. They're good. They're good. They're good. They're good. But they're first round out every year. Um, Toronto is missing someone who is a really consistent scorer. They have guys who could. Everyone on their team could have a big game, but nobody has big games every night.
Yeah.
Um, no one even averages 20 points. Oh, Siakam averages over 20, but no one else is even really that close. So, um, and
They still force feed Siakam like he's their only option.
yeah, they do.
Uh and I feel like they can spread out forcing shots a little bit.
I think Siakam is their only guy that they think they can form a mismatch with every time down court, and that's something that most good teams have more than one of those, and they really do only have him. No one else is really a mismatch. If OG Anunoby scores,
Right.
I never feel like you just can't guard him. Like, oh, he just got a tough bucket, and that's everybody.
Van Fleet's the same way.
Yeah, he just got a tough bucket. But Siakam's the only one who, just because of his length, really. That's really the only thing that makes him a mismatch. But all these other good teams have at least two. Every contender has two. So they
I'm
got to get
curious
another
how
one.
they progress through the season, man. I'm reaching for this, but I hope they're active in the trade deadline.
I do too, but it's dangerous because who if they're active in the trade deadline, I think the year is probably a wash,
Yeah,
and then they come back the next year.
I wouldn't take the risk because I'd I'd rather struggle and potentially fail to build on this
Yeah,
than to try to like really change the formula just because we're not really advancing past the first round,
right.
you know. So
Because if
I
they
see what you mean.
yeah, if they do, they trade. a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1, they're done for the season, and then they got to worry about
Yeah.
filling the bench back up in the off season, which you never know.
Their rotation is a little thin.
Yeah, I mean, they still got Thaddeus Young getting minutes. Is that
That is
Thaddeus Young? Is he T
there's no
Young? Yeah,
way.
played
Like
21 games, averaging uh 17 minutes a night. So,
I mean, it's interesting to me, like they plug guys in. They've always done that.
yeah.
Or at least the Nick Nurse years they've done that.
Hmm.
But again, I just wonder how they face against like the elite defensive teams, the Boston, the Milwaukee in the playoffs. Like it's going to be the same narrative of Toronto just can't score with these teams.
Yeah, because the thing is, they can defend those teams pretty
100%.
well, as good as
100%.
anybody. But yeah, they're not gonna be able to score with them. Yeah. What's the other team? The other slept on team.
Bro, I don't understand why people are concerned about Dallas. Like, were people imagining that Luca would have them dominating the conference, like front running for MVP, and we're doing Luca promos every doubleheader, as the Mavericks are on seemingly every doubleheader.
Yeah, I'm not sure what people were expecting either. Um,
I thought they'd be a little more above 500 than they are.
yeah,
But I'm also not surprised that they're losing games at all.
right. And I think this is where people mistake Luca's. I'm trying to say this without sounding like I'm hating. They mistake him being good with him being like uh like his centerpiece status with him being able to carry them like no matter what. Like Harden had a similar team in Houston, right? I think it's fair to say that the Harden Houston team before Chris
A lot of
Paul,
people make that comparison.
yeah, I think that's a fair comparison. But Harden was doing like averaging triple double, but he was putting up 40s, 50s, just like Luca. But all the guys on the team, Harden's team were hitting threes. They were setting like records for threes where everyone on the team played good defense. Harden was a guaranteed bucket almost every time down court, or at least a guaranteed point because he'd go to the free throw line. He led the league in free throws, all that stuff. The rest of this team, this Dallas team, doesn't do what that Houston team did. And the rest of the league has already seen it done, so they know it's not going to happen again with this Dallas team. Like I think the
Yeah.
Warriors played that Houston team enough in the playoffs to say, all right, we're not going to let Luca come and just do what Harden did to us again. Like exactly what he did, which is drive, kick, or drive, try to get fouled, or if you collapse, it's a kick and it's a three. But this team isn't that. They're not that kind of team. Not that good of a shooting team. Um, they still really don't have a lob threat, which we asked for the whole offseason to get the lob threat. They have JaVale McGee, and I don't think I've seen a game where he actually got in the game on television. And I watch most of their games because they play like every night. Almost all their games are televised. But
And I'll tell you what, despite all that you just said, and I really don't disagree with any of it, I still think they're coming out the West.
you think they're coming out the West
Yes, sir.
to the finals?
Yeah. Yeah. Their peak, let me tell you why. Their peak looks better than every other
The
team in the West.
finals?
The finals.
The NBA finals.
NBA finals. Now, I obviously like a bad injury. Like if they lose they really can't lose a starter for the playoffs.
They can lose Hardaway again.
Yeah, Hardaway is he could be in and out.
But really, to me, the only ones they can't lose is Dinwiddie and Luca. I think everyone else is replaceable.
You're probably right. Finney Smith is like a weirdly like great fit for every lineup.
He's their defensive stopper, so he would hurt. It would hurt if they lost him.
My problem is I trust in what the Mavericks supporting cast does, and not from like they'll get it done. They there's a good chance they won't.
Yeah.
The problem is there's no mystery for how the supporting cast plays.
Okay.
And that's where their ceiling is better. Because
Yeah.
when they match up well against certain teams like Phoenix and like the Clippers,
Mm-hmm.
they're night and day better.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
night and day better.
Definitely Phoenix. I'll definitely agree with Phoenix. I don't know about the Clippers, but
I mean, if you're thinking of healthy Clippers, maybe that's not the case. But when is
yeah,
that
yeah,
going to
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
happen?
Right. Probably won't happen this year.
Never. If it's not happening this year, it's not happening ever. The fuck you talking about? Like next year, Kawhi is gonna be back. Like what?
Maybe.
Anyway,
Never. I will never try to predict when Kawhi is coming back ever again.
never.
Because
Yeah,
it's
can't do
impossible.
it. Can't do it.
Every time I don't think he's gonna come back, he plays. Every time I do think he's gonna come back, he misses 10 games. So it's cool.
To me, Dallas, like everything about their chemistry is more reliable than the teams they're going to be competing against.
Okay.
Like to me, I trust how the supporting cast plays off Luka a lot more than Memphis plays off Ja.
Right. I agree with that.
You look at the Warriors are
Denver, I would say
slipping.
Denver.
The one reason that if you ask me in the offseason to like paint you a picture of how Dallas could beat the Warriors in a series
Mm-hmm.
is if the Warriors defense sucks.
Yeah.
And their defense sucks right now.
Uh-huh.
And I really it doesn't look like it's getting better. The rotation might get better. The bench guys might start contributing more, but
Yeah.
they can't guard.
I agree.
They can't guard. Clay can't move his feet the same. Draymond doesn't have the same focus. I mean, it's honestly, Steph is still the only guy that impresses me defensively.
Which is a disaster. Like that's really bad to even
I
say.
know that's
Yeah.
horrible. I know Looney's like a good positional guy, but he's not athletic.
No.
And Wiggins, you're not going to do the same thing you did last year of just match Wiggins on Luka and take him out the series
Why not?
because you don't have depth.
Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If Wiggins picks up 2 fouls, the entire game plan is dead.
No, you're right. Yeah, they don't have Porter or Peyton to help
So
him. Peyton was
I
a big
guess
part
to
of that.
convince you, I would have to downplay everybody else more.
No, no. I listen. I laughed, but I don't think that that's crazy. I just laughed because it just surprised me. But it doesn't think I don't think that that's crazy to say because they went to the Western Conference Finals. It's not like they weren't in the playoffs last year, and you're saying a team that didn't even make
Yeah.
the playoffs is going straight to the finals. There were 2 games from going to the finals last year. So,
It, to me, it's just like Jason Kidd is squeezing the absolute most like production he can out of this roster.
I agree.
But
And
it's
Kip
been done
hasn't
with these
even
guys for so many years now. Again, like I know exactly what Kleber is going to do in the playoffs. I can't say that for Jaren Jackson or Dylan Brooks or any role players outside of maybe Phoenix.
the only thing I think you're right, but the only counter I have is that teams that are consistent are that consistent to win are also that consistent to lose. So I think that because all those guys do the exact same thing every night and you know what you're gonna get from them every night, the teams know what they're going to get from them every night too. And yeah, they still win games, but I think it they give you the recipe to beat them when they're that limited and consistent. And I'm not saying everyone will, because they'll still beat teams. It doesn't mean that doesn't mean that they're easy to beat. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that. But I think they're probably the easiest to prepare for. But they like what separates them is how good Dinwiddie maybe plays that night, or how good, how insane Luka's stats are that night. But everything else is like, all right, we know what's going to happen with them, so we should know how to defend it. And the teams who do are the teams that beat them, which is usually only the elite teams. They don't really lose games they're not supposed to
Yeah. And
lose.
they've had, you think about it, every playoff run they've had has been like a 6 to 7 game series
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole way through. I mean, even Utah went 6.
Hmm.
Uh, but again, to me, like Luka's finally defending. He's not getting gassed out in 5 minutes of playing time.
Right.
He's also he also like his intensity is a little bit better. It's not
Hmm.
so directed at like, yo, ref, I'm cooking. Why aren't you calling it for me?
Right.
He's still getting upset, but it's he's dialed it down.
And I think more players get more dribbles in their offense than Luca does. I mean, than Luca has let happen in the past. Like Dinwiddie gets an ISO with Luca out there now. I think
Yes.
even Josh Green gets a nice drive with Luca out there. And last season, the year before last, it was like either I'm dribbling and as soon as you catch it, you try to shoot it. Like Luca would get 99% of the dribbles of their
Yeah.
offense while he was out there. And now I think the ball moves a lot differently and guys get more opportunities to try to score. I will say that for sure. And
I
Christian
just
Wood,
think Dallas, regardless of their situation, again,
mhm,
other than injuries, they're gonna walk into the playoffs with momentum.
I I don't know, man. I That is a hot take. I will say it's a hot take. I don't think it's crazy, but it is a really hot pick.
I
Um,
will say
I
in
guess
a
that is
month,
saying it's crazy,
if
but
Denver stays healthy and keeps starting, clicking more and more, they
I like
might.
Dallas over Denver though, personally.
I know you've never loved Denver as much as I have.
Denver loses games they have no reason to lose. And I
You're
just don't understand.
very accurate in that.
And the thing is, I'm not sure how back Murray is. He's playing good, but he's not doing everything. Yeah, and Porter Jr. still, I haven't seen him play 3 games in a row yet. He might have, but I haven't seen it.
I'll say
Um,
I think Porter Jr. looks more back than Murray does
he
when
does,
he's
yeah.
out there.
I mean, Porter Jr. is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league this year.
He
Eh,
dude, he's always a sniper.
He is, yeah, and he's just
He
so.
looks like
I
he
mean,
could be in with like the post surgery brace on, and he could make shots.
yeah, and his shot is impossible to block because he jumps so high and
It's
he's
yeah,
so
he
big.
shoots like
Yeah.
a pure scorer.
Yeah, and the thing is, I just don't. I think Jokic is still someone that's hard for everyone to get hot with. But Bruce Brown might be the best pickup of the offseason this year. Well, I'll say it depending on where they go, how far
Yeah,
Denver goes. But so far, he's definitely top 5 pickups of the entire offseason right now. I mean,
yeah,
he's helped them in ways I didn't even think they needed help in. Bruce Brown has come in and shown me like, yo, they weren't doing this last year. I'm doing this for them now.
I
So,
know. And he's such a good fit because he fits every lineup in any way.
mhm.
Like he'll bring the ball up for a lineup. He'll be a screen setter for another lineup. He'll be a cutter. He'll stand in the corner. Like he literally does it all. He'll space the floor.
Yep.
He's a complete player, man.
The only thing I don't like about Denver compared to Dallas is Denver is always willing to give up something every night against teams. I don't really know why they do that, but like for example, there's nights where it's obvious that they just say, "All right, we're not gonna even try to get rebounds tonight." Jokic is going to take threes. Jokic is playing the point. We're going small for the whole game. They're going to out rebound us, but let's try to beat them at everything else. I don't know why that's his strategy, but it's so obvious sometimes. I hate, I don't like watching that. And I know that's not a recipe to win in the playoffs because they tried it with the Warriors. They said, look, let's go big. Let's try to beat them inside because we're not going to be able to outshoot them. And they tried it and they got outshot. Just exactly what they thought would happen. The same, and when they do it with rebounding, they'll say, look, we're playing against the Timberwolves. We're not going to be able to out rebound them. Let's just try to beat them outside. Let's attack their guards. They do that
Yeah.
and then they get out rebounded and they lose, which is just, I don't really get what the strategy is. And they do it a lot. And I'm not sure if Malone thinks that they have to do that, but instead of going with a more balanced lineup or a team that could affect the game in all different ways, he likes to go with with a team that has a clear flaw, a rotation or a lineup that has a clear flaw all the time on the court.
Yeah. You know what
Uh,
it is for me compared to Dallas? I think I trust the way Dallas moves the ball a lot more.
I do too.
Like, if anything, I would like for me to be confident in Denver succeeding through the whole playoff run. I have to see guys get assists to Jokic, not the other way around.
Jokic doesn't let anyone on the team get assists except for him.
Luca you've seen like Luca will run with somebody else in transition.
Oh
Luca
yeah.
will pass it right back for Dinwiddie to make the play instead of him.
Yep.
He'll let Josh Green, make the transition play. Like Luca's developing and he's opening up the roster to be a little bit better than they are.
Yep. Jokic will make a pass to somebody and like go get in their way so they don't make the next pass.
Yeah, like I would like to see more variations because they run good like handoff sets. They run good post ups for some of the other bigger guys, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like always the same.
And then their bench, their backups is just like they kind of do a 5 in, 5 out. Actually, I mean it's not like
Yeah.
fully 5 in, 5 out, but it's like within 2 minutes of gameplay is a whole new five out there, and it's just for Highland to just take as many shots as he can. And
Yeah,
that's
that right there is also a huge. Malone is not slick throwing out whoever and letting Bones Highland play high pick and roll. Like that's
I
not
can't
having a
even name
bench.
I can't even name the other guys. It's DeAndre Jordan, Bones Highland, and a bunch of just random guys. And it's just like, yo,
The
Bones, you
the
just do
dude from
whatever.
what was it, Kansas, right? The white dude,
Oh, Brown, yeah, Brown,
Braun, yeah, Christian
yeah,
Braun.
yeah. Him, the LeBron stopper. Uh, I don't even remember his name, man. I'll look him up so I don't get it wrong. But uh, what is his name? Reed, Davon Reed. Oh, they do put Jeff Green out there sometimes, but it's
He's
just
he's
like
good.
a threat thing. Jeff Green was so good for the Nets, and like they just really threw off his career trajectory
Well, that's
leaving the
because
Nets. But
he's been good everywhere, and except Wizards, of course. Uh, but but he's inconsistent everywhere, dude. That's what I hate about him. He's the guy. He's that guy who steps on the court, and within the first like two things that he does that he's one of
you're
the
kind of
best
nice.
players on the court.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then he could just as easily disappear, and you never notice him again.
And he's okay with it, which is weird. But which is the
Very
weirdest
weird.
thing.
And at the end, and then you'll come back like, holy shit, that guy didn't do anything.
Hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
That's so often I look at Jeff Green doing nothing, and I'm like, yo, Jeff, why? You
Hmm.
could easily get involved in this game.
Yeah. I don't know why he does that, but he does do that quite often. Um, Aaron Gordon looks really good for them. I wish he got more minutes. I almost wish they played some small ball with him at the 5 sometimes,
I would love
where
to
like
see
they
that.
really move the ball. But it's like Jokic is the most dominating personality for his team in the entire league to me. Like
I'm starting to
I
see
really
that
feel
too,
like
to be honest.
yeah, and I've said it for a while, but I
Hmm.
really feel like he comes in and is just he's really coaching them when he's in there. If he's on the court, nothing happens without his say so. And it just looks toxic for the team.
Maybe coaching. I don't know about coaching. That's maybe a bit extreme. But you know what I hate is how
He's floor general.
it's clear that he dictates how many shots he takes.
And
That
everybody
like
else.
just play. Just play, dude. Like you don't have to fucking, oh, I need to get the cast involved, so I'm 15 and under today.
Hmm.
Like it looks very specific when he doesn't shoot the ball and when he does shoot the ball. And then we at that point we're getting into the South Beach Bandit himself, Jimmy Butler territory, and that shit is just unacceptable. Like Miami gets away with it,
They're not
Denver's
this year.
not good enough. Yeah, not this year, but Denver's just not good enough to get away with playing like that.
But the difference is Jimmy doesn't do so much in the offense that Jokic does. Where like Jokic even like it even seems like Jokic be mad if someone takes a shot that he didn't pass to him. Like it really looks like that sometimes. And if they get it, he begs for it. He
Yeah.
wants to set it up, and he wants to be the guy to give it to you, so his assist stats look good. And
Yeah.
if somebody's hot, like if Jokic doesn't want to give it back to you while you're hot, you're just not gonna get it back. Like I've seen Porter hit three threes in a
Yeah,
row, and
dude, it's
Jokic just
so
be like,
bizarre. But like
we run
there's
it
a
to the other
couple
side.
guys, it's so weird because Bones he'll trust relentlessly.
Yeah.
Like he developed that trust with him like that.
Hmm.
But back when Gary Harris was here, he couldn't take like 5 shots.
Nope. One bad shot, he's done. Jokic is never going that way again.
I mean, KCP there is kind of hit and miss for them because sometimes he gets shots, sometimes he doesn't. Bro,
Mhm.
KCP has proven to be clutch.
Yes. And he's proven to be someone who can miss his first five and hit his next five.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jokic is like with Porter Jr. mostly, and they've had this beef since Porter Jr. was a rookie. Porter Jr. is having a good game on Porter Jr.'s on the right side. All right, cool. He just hit four in a row. Let's go. Let's try it to the left side now. No, bring it back over here. Let's keep running this.
Thank you.
He doesn't do it.
Nah,
Jokic does
dude.
not do it.
I'm starting to see it, and it makes like it shows Denver's like roster deficiencies.
But they don't have it. Jokic creates it to me. And the other thing is, look, if Porter Jr. just hit four threes, guess what? When you pass it to him, it's going up. So why are you 30 feet from the basket? Like Jokic doesn't think, all right, Porter just hit three or four. Let me get inside to the block. Let me post up and kick it out so he can get another look and maybe be ready for a rebound. No, I'm gonna just come down court, stand at half court, give it to him, and just watch. And like then then it's a fast break the other end with the slowest dude is the one getting back.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just. It's not a
And
good.
that to me, like that's a blueprint the Warriors showed that other teams could emulate.
Hmm.
Like if you don't have an Andrew Wiggins kind of guy, you just don't. Like that's not something you can't go out and get Andrew Wiggins in free agency.
Right.
But pushing the tempo, getting up and down at a tempo that Jokic can't, is one of the last guys to keep up.
Hmm.
You take him out their game.
And being prepared for anyone to take a shot at any moment. The Warriors, for some reason, they are always ready for someone to take a shot. It
Yep.
doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter what play broke down. They know. All right. It looks like he's a little bit open. Let's be ready to get back or get the rebound, one or the other. Jokic be looking surprised that people are taking open shots. Like Porter Jr.'s taking a three? Like, yes, that's what he does.
No, no.
But Warriors never have that problem. It's like, yeah, Draymond took that three. Okay, cool. Like it is what it is.
It, and it's kind of like to me
Dallas does it too, though.
these two teams highlight kind of the struggle a superstar has to deal with, because
Mhm.
you see Luca went from controlling literally every fucking thing on every possession to
Yep.
now we're picking spots where y'all can have some of the control.
And that's
I'm not giving you the keys, but I'll leave the door open for you to get in.
yeah.
And Jokic is going the opposite way, where
Mhm.
in a lot of critical moments, like, dude, KCP and Bruce Brown have proven to be clutch players.
Yes.
Sometimes just let them make plays.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't be a control freak,
Yeah.
especially when the roster has versatility, and because of your control freak tendencies, they don't show
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't know if they could break through that.
And that's the difference between Denver and Dallas playing their peak basketball. Because when Dallas does that, they're playing their absolute peak. When Brunson was there, Brunson was getting off. Dinwiddie was getting off.
And their
Um,
shooters, if their shooters are hot, the ball is finding them.
and you can just look at it. You can look at guys like Steph, who gets excited when Poole has 40, has 30, whatever. Luca gets excited when Hardaway Jr. hits six threes. He's having a good time. I never see Jokic look excited when anyone else has a good game. Ever. I
Bro,
never have.
Josh Green makes one play and Luca's like, yo,
Going
my
crazy.
man, like good shit, like way to play.
He's dancing
Jokic
with
is dead inside
Theo.
all the time.
Dead inside. He's only happy when he has a good game. No one else having a good game means anything to him.
Yeah.
Um,
It is becoming weird. And I'm curious if it gets like more noticeably exposed. That's another problem, is teams haven't really exposed it.
no, they haven't, because he's still such a mismatch, man. I mean,
Yeah.
even if they wanted to try, is just who? There's only four or five guys that can even match up with him.
Yeah. It's that in that way, him and Luca are very similar. Like there's just certain rosters you literally could get out of bed and get straight on the court and put up, 30, 15, and 8.
Yeah, it's really like it's if it's not Draymond, Greek Freak, Embiid, Jokic. I mean Anthony Davis. Jokic is just going out there, just going through the motions with a triple double
Yeah.
anytime he wants.
I told you this when we were talking about Dallas the other day. Like with Luca, and I think with Jokic, it's the same thing. You can't put smaller guys on them.
No, you
It
can't.
has to be somebody that makes them work in the post,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the one ISO way they could guarantee good shots.
Yeah.
And Wiggins took that away from from Luca, and the speed of the game, I thought, took that away from Jokic in their series.
Yep.
So always the Warriors showing us the blueprint.
Yeah. Yep. Sure is.
They did it with
Um.
Harden too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, Wiggins with the length, the other guys being ready to run out there to shooters. The problem is how Dallas plays is very easy for the Warriors to practice because they have a similar roster, like as far as being able to shoot, everyone being able to shoot. It's like, okay, let's just practice. Fool, you just drive into the paint and everyone work on closing out to shooters. Oh, we can do that because we have enough shooters to practice something like that. And to, I guess, simulate what that would look like. But not a lot of teams have that at all. Not a lot of teams can even combat that in any way. And like you said, if you don't have someone like Wiggins, someone like um
Dude, I mean,
OG,
watching the Phoenix game matchups, good
yeah,
lord, he makes Phoenix's entire roster look small,
yep,
including their fucking center, DeAndre Ayton, who somehow looks small with Luca out there giving him the unstoppable step back.
yep, yep. But all right, you got any more league stuff? NBA?
Nothing in depth, no.
All right. We're gonna get into World Cup talk just for a little while, really quick, since we haven't really talked since before it even started. I'm
Hmm.
gonna invite my boy who's a World Cup expert on here in just a second, right after this break. All right, so World Cup talk. We have our friend here, Wyatt. Say hello, Wyatt.
Everybody.
Yeah. He's our soccer expert now. What round is it now? I don't even know what
Going
round.
into the
This was
quarterfinal.
Quarterfinals.
quarterfinals.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, what do you think about it so far?
All right, so far this is honestly probably one of the most unpredictable World Cups.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a whole lot of upsets, a whole lot of stuff that you thought would happen did happen. Honestly, I think this has probably been one of the better World Cups I've seen, and I've it's not saying a lot. I've only seen three, but
Hmm.
this is already much better than the 2018 one. So I mean, I was overall pretty happy with how it's gone so far.
Is that a competition reason why, or is it the action, or what do you think?
Uh, Honestly, I think yeah, competition and action. I think we've had a lot more. I think the goals in this one we've had a lot more like better like jaw dropping goals, honestly, and competition. I
So the
feel like just
highlights.
more. Yeah, we've had better highlights for sure, and I think competition wise, I think more countries have better squads than they did in 2018.
Gotcha. Okay, so tell me about the performance from the stars. Have any new stars emerged? How have the stars from the past played? We
I
know
got
the big
you.
names. How's everyone doing?
Yeah. So start out with like the three biggest names. Ronaldo, kind of underwhelming. We'll get to that later, I guess. Messi,
Hmm.
I think he's shown flashes of what he can do and like why he's one of the goats, but I really don't think he's played his best game yet.
Hmm.
Especially in their first game, Saudi Arabia, how they lost that game, I don't know. It was
Hmm.
really wild to watch because previously they hadn't been beaten before that since like 2019,
Hmm.
and they were like the favorite to win it. So that was kind of disappointing from him. Neymar, he's been pretty solid. Couple of goals. He had a penalty the other day against Korea to put him up early. Honestly, he was hurt for like the last one or two games of the group stage.
Hmm.
So that kind of hurt his like performance overall a little bit. But I think we're gonna he's this is kind of basically his legacy right here. So I think he's gonna step up hopefully.
Yeah.
And since Brazil honestly probably has one of their most talented sides they've ever fielded.
This is
Another
supposed to be kind of
guy,
a passing of the torch for Neymar, right? Since Ronaldo and
yeah,
Messi, this is their last one. So,
yeah. Honestly, this is probably Neymar's last one too.
oh
Yeah,
really?
man, Neymar's been around a little while.
Yeah, Neymar's
Yeah,
Neymar's been a name, but he didn't really like come to prominence until like early like 2010s.
he's
Yeah, it
supposed
was
to at
a
least play the
little
next
while
one though.
after Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking he's supposed to at least be like the face of the next one.
yeah, he might, but honestly, this is probably more of a torch going from all three of them to people like Rashford or uh, Charleston, another striker for Brazil, and
Hmm.
Vinicius Jr. and Jude
Hmm.
Bellingham. All of those guys had crazy, crazy World Cups. To go Vinicius Jr. first, he is really important overall to Brazil's attack. But
Hmm.
honestly, so far I've been surprised with how many times he's given up like a shot that he's had. Because when he plays for Real Madrid, I don't really see him give up a whole lot of open shots to get his teammates in better positions. But he's been doing that pretty often. He's already got two assists and he's only got one goal in three games. But overall, I mean, he's pretty solid from him.
Hmm.
Mbappe, top goal scorer already. He's got five goals.
Yeah.
So he's just been absolutely insane. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
If France isn't in the final, I'd be shocked. Richarlison, he's tied for second most goals. I think he's got three. Him and Messi both have three. Uh, he actually had the best goal of the tournament. I don't know if y'all saw that. I forgot who it was against, but He had it in the box, off his chest, off his head, and then bicycled into the corner. Crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was nuts. Absolutely
A guy
nuts.
who actually played very well for Ecuador, Inter Valencia. He
Hmm.
actually went kind of crazy and had 3 goals for them. Pretty sure Ecuador's out. Yeah, I think they got knocked out in the group stage, honestly. But
Hmm.
Rashford has had 3 goals for England. And him up there paired with Saka up top. Both of
Hmm.
those guys, England players, honestly, nightmare fuel to try to defend those guys. Like no chance anyone stopping that. And especially with Jude Bellingham giving them the ball up from the midfield, he's got 1 goal and 1 assist in the 4 games he's played for England. So honestly, those are my like real big impact players and who I've been surprised by so far.
Okay. Okay, Mike.
I gotta ask, man, how did the US look to you? They were unfortunately the only team I got to watch the whole group stage and the elimination game. Uh, I thought they played better than I thought, but they did disappoint. What did you think?
Uh, I mean, we're definitely getting better. The overall like style of play, the U.S. has just been honestly just try to be faster and stronger than everybody.
Messy.
But
Yeah.
I feel like they're coming along where they know they actually have to put some tactics into the game. They can't just out athlete everyone. So I've seen a big improvement there. We did have a different coach in 2014, the last time we were in it. Jurgen Klinsmann. I'm glad he's gone, but the guy we got now, I don't think he's much better. I'm not gonna lie, but overall, I was impressed with how they handled playing England. But other than that, other than the England and Iran game, the Wales game was good until they just gave the penalty. They gave the game away with that penalty, like
Yeah.
last minute of the game for some reason. Uh, I think overall the U.S. has to honestly just get better at like letting like actually developing the players when they're younger because a lot of them they start developing like they pick these people when they're like 8 or 9 years old and they just stick with them and they're like no one else is coming into the U.S. soccer like this is the team we're going to field for the next 20 years and that's it and I that just bothers me because if you notice honestly like most of the guys that we have planned for us are from like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and like that's it. Those are the
Hmm.
only states they really I've seen like people recruit from, and it's just kind of infuriating because like I know huge parts of the country that like have soccer culture. Like North Carolina, I know Texas has great soccer culture. California, just all these very like skilled places that they're not recruiting from, and I think that honestly we're suffering a lot from it.
Mm,
I
gotcha.
will say I like Pulisic. I think he's a pretty good player. I mean he does to your point try to outrun everybody on the field. But he's very aggressive. He doesn't settle. He looks to get the ball to somebody. He was probably the only guy through the group stages that I consistently liked how he attacked.
Hmm.
A lot of the other guys would just kind of try shit, it felt like.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Pulisic definitely him and Tyler Adams, I think
Yeah.
were the two and Dest are I don't want to say left or right back. I can't remember which side he was on,
Des
but
did make a lot of good runs.
yeah,
Hmm.
nah, those three I think were the most impactful players we had by far. Pulisic, honestly, I think he kind of underperformed. I think people really wanted more out of him,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's kind of taking what he can get. Like our midfield is kind of lacking, other than Tyler Adams, who's more of a defensive mid, kind of more of like a Casemiro type. So it's hard to get the ball off the back line up to those guys to make plays when our back line is just terrible. Our center backs have no idea what they're doing with the ball, can't get it out, can't move it forward, and the midfield's again lacking. So it's just it all starts at the back line.
Gotcha. So you mentioned Ronaldo earlier. Tell us more about, how he's been a letdown, how other stars have been a letdown. Tell us what you think about that, about his situation in general.
So honestly, everyone knows, coming into this World Cup, Ronaldo and Messi, this was their last chance to get a World Cup, obviously. But the way Ronaldo came into it after the whole, I don't know if y'all saw the scandal, him talking to Pierce Morgan about
Trashing his manager or whatever.
the
Yeah.
manager, yeah, the manager, the owners, everything about Manchester United. He just really went for, which is, I mean, if you listen to the interview, he's not wrong. He left the club in 2008, comes back, and absolutely nothing has changed with the facility. Everything's the same. They got the same weights. They got the same. Like, how are you one of the most prominent clubs in Europe and you're making no strides to get better? That makes no sense to me. But everybody got real mad about him about that. So the pressure was already on, and he hasn't really performed. I'm not gonna lie. He had a penalty. I think he's got 2 goals. He had a penalty in one, and
He tried to claim the
oh,
header.
the Bruno Fernandes, yeah. Honestly, I thought he had it, but it apparently
I did
not
live too.
head.
Live, I was like, "Oh, that's a tough header," and then on the replay, I'm like, "Oh."
Nah, but he's just overall. I mean, and the guy he got benched for kind of showed out, so I don't know if he's gonna play.
Yeah.
Because the
It
guy
was
he got
he
benched
looked
for,
great.
It was crazy how much chemistry they had with him.
Yeah.
the guy
Honestly,
he got benched for had a hat trick immediately. I was like,
I know.
oh no.
It's wild because I'm looking at
Yeah.
him. I'm like, wow, he's just like he's doing shit Ronaldo doesn't even do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that was the biggest difference to me. I mean, yeah, being aggressive and scoring, but that's one thing Ronaldo does do. So
Yeah,
it's
that's a
interesting.
huge factor for sure. But another guy I think underperformed, honestly, Christian Pulisic. Just, I think he could have done more.
Hmm.
But again, like the team surrounding him isn't great, so I can't really get too upset. But honestly,
Right.
I don't. Other than the whole Germany team, I think those are my only people that have underperformed.
I'll give you a
Hmm.
name I thought struggled was, well, I mean, the team struggled probably more than he did individually, but I didn't really like how Cavani played for Uruguay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they just didn't look good doing anything. I'm not gonna lie.
No, they didn't.
They just look overall bad, which is upsetting because I wanted him, because this is also his last World Cup, and I wanted him to have a good showing, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
I
man,
did kind of
I
expect
expected
more from
more
him.
from him and Suarez, and it just never really happened.
On paper, they had a pretty good side, but they just the midfield couldn't get the ball up to those 2 guys, and they
Yeah.
couldn't capitalize on the chances they had. So
Which
playing right
upset?
home for them.
Which upset was most surprising for you?
Uh, Honestly, I think the Saudi Arabia beating Argentina was kind of crazy,
Yeah.
but Germany not getting to the round of 16, losing in the group stage, that's crazy. There's the amount of talent they have on that team. There is no way they could not have honestly come in first in that group.
Gotcha. Okay. Mike, you got any more questions?
No, I'm just thinking about some of the upsets. I thought Morocco beating Spain was interesting.
Yeah, that was another one. They went the whole 90 minutes and then the 5 extra minutes and then the whole extra time, no
It was
goal.
so wild how Spain had like years of experience in penalties and
Yeah.
Morocco had none. And it turned their goalie turned out to be the hero.
Yeah, their goalie, I think his name's like Yazine Bono or something like that. I probably butchered that, but he that was crazy. I thought for sure once it went to penalties, I was like, "Oh, Spain's got this
I know.
100%." But then he stopped the first 2 penalties, and I was like, "Oh, oh no!" It's and then the third Spain penalty hit the post, and I was just
Dude, yeah,
no.
yeah. Penalties are a different type of pressure.
Dude, I really honestly upset Morocco won that game because I wanted them to move on to play Portugal because I really wanted Portugal to knock Spain out.
Mm-hmm.
but it just didn't happen like that, unfortunately.
So who's your favorite now?
Um, I got two favorites. I couldn't pick just one because
Okay,
my mind is telling me France, but my heart really wants Brazil to win. Because
gotcha.
again, this is Neymar's legacy basically. So they really need him to step up for the next game. They play Croatia, I'm pretty sure, and Croatia's not a bad team. They made it all the way to the final in 2018. So they really need him to step up. And France, honestly, they just look insane. I forgot what game it was, but they had a whole new starting 11 for one game. Like they did not play one guy who was out there
Hmm.
for the previous game against Australia. I think it was still in the group stage, but even then they still looked crazy good. And they just the way they control the ball, their passes, and how they get the ball up to their weapons like Mbappe and Griezmann. I just think they're going to be really tough to stop for anybody.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting. England, I think, is a team who also moves the ball pretty well. Like passing
yeah,
is kind of their strength, so it's gonna be a fun game coming up.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be a very very exciting game. But I just don't know if England's back line is really, especially with Harry Maguire playing back there. If he starts, I think Mbappe is going to absolutely eat him alive. But that's definitely going to be a fun game. Amount of talent on the field during that game, I would be surprised if it's under. Honestly, if it's under like 3 goals, I would be very surprised.
okay. You want to give us your predictions, or you want to save it
All right. So my predictions for the whole thing.
for this next
Like,
round? Who are
this
going to
next
be
round, I got
the
you. I got you. I got you.
in the semifinals for you?
All right. So first game, Netherlands, Argentina. I got Argentina. Don't think
Yeah,
Netherlands can really stop their attack.
safe
Croatia,
pick.
Brazil. I got Brazil.
Safe pick. Too safe.
England, France. All right. Hey, I don't think Luca can do it all by himself against Brazil. I'm not gonna lie, but
I got you.
England and France. I got France and Morocco, Portugal. I got to go with the goat. I got to go with Ronaldo here.
Okay,
I just don't think. I think Morocco's magic's about to run out.
I got you. You know, I forget how many injuries Neymar has had because he's 30, but his body is probably 38 because he's had a lot of
Yeah,
injuries throughout his career. But I mean, Ronaldo and Messi, they're got to be 38, right? Probably something
uh,
like
I
that.
think I think Messi. I don't know how old Messi is, but I know Ronaldo's 37, and they're around the same time, so they're either 36, 37. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but the
Okay.
issue with honestly Neymar is he's kind of known for being like flamboyant, kind of flopping a little bit.
Yeah.
So honestly, the things that are really fouls when he goes down, they're really honestly probably not going to give him most of the calls. So
Gotcha.
And he lets that sometimes lets his emotions get the best of him, and it kind of takes him out of his game. So
oh,
A,
for sure.
a lot
hopefully,
of
Yeah.
hopefully he
times.
can stay away from that.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Neymar is notoriously
Yeah, he's hot headed.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to bring up about the World Cup?
Um, nah, really. I think we covered everything.
Mike, anything else?
Oh, man, it's nice to see. I mean, I know it's more so because United States was in it, but it's nice to see United States get into soccer a little bit more, at least once every 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is
that is nice.
the most pride I've seen for the USA team in a while.
Yeah, man, and
Long time.
I hope they expand on the where they look for talent. Like there's no need to limit where you can find talent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was a really good
Really
point.
need to work on that.
Yeah. I mean, all these so many of these colleges have great soccer teams.
Dude, a
Yeah.
lot of colleges don't even have men's soccer teams anymore. Like Alabama, I don't think anyone in the SEC besides like Florida has one.
Yeah, that's the SEC though. You guys got other stuff to worry about.
Football's
Yeah,
so
Yeah,
overwhelmingly
but
popular.
yeah.
unfortunately,
There's
I don't think we're gonna really progress a whole lot in the next 15 years because it's just not like kids aren't or parents really aren't putting their kids into soccer as much as they're putting them into basketball and football. So
Yeah.
most of our athletes aren't going there.
but the teams who do have good soccer teams have always had really good soccer teams.
Yeah, this
So
is
it is
true.
kind of messed up that the recruiting is it's so limited. Especially like you said, North Carolina has always had good soccer teams throughout
Oh
the
yeah,
state. Yeah.
a lot of talent there.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you for hopping on.
Yeah, for
Probably
sure.
gonna bring you
Appreciate
on
y'all
next
having
week
me.
too.
Where
Definitely
I'm
next
down.
week after this round. So
Bet.
yeah. All right, man. We'll catch you later.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Y'all be safe. I'll
All right.
see you.
All right. Thanks to Wyatt for the World Cup talk. Last thing, Yankees. We got Aaron Judge back, man. We got him back. It broke the bank. We had to rob 3 banks to
Of course.
do it, but we got him.
The Federal Reserve had to be rated.
Yes, man. I mean, what was it? 360? I think it's 9 years. 9 years, 360 mil. Hey,
These
not too
baseball
much.
contracts are different.
Yo, that is yeah, 9 year, $360 million. But it like a $217 million extension option. So hey, I really didn't want to lose him. I was really gonna be upset if New York lost him because the teams that wanted him were those teams that everyone like San Francisco, everybody wants to live in San Francisco. San Diego, I mean, a lot of teams wanted him, but Yankees got it done. I just want to say that. Shout
You
out to
know,
the
you know what's crazy to me, and again, I don't know shit about baseball, but from an outside perspective, like these guys get paid because it's such a boring sport that if a guy is must watch, like
yeah,
that's
you got to
such
pay
a
him.
valuable commodity that it costs this much.
Yeah.
I mean,
The thing about
who else is putting fans in Yankees games other than Aaron Judge?
nobody.
Right. So it speaks for itself.
Think about Aaron Judge. He's like a guaranteed run per night. That's the only thing. Like you have to have him because
He's a fucking hitter.
yeah, he averages a half a home run per game. If you think
Yeah.
about it, they play about 120 games. He had 60 something home runs. So, gotta go for it. So yeah, looking up for them right now. But all the other teams are getting better. I can't think of all the free agents because free agency really kind of just started. But a lot of teams are making moves, getting better. So is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else. Do you?
No, man. I mean, we'll be back. Obviously, World Cup talk. We get closer to football. I'm gonna be locked in the playoffs. I'm gonna be locked
Yes.
in to all the
NFL
matchups, the seeds.
NFL playoffs, Christmas Day, NBA is coming.
Oh yeah.
Everyone should be healthy for Christmas Day too, I believe, which is going to be great for once.
Yeah.
I wish they would treat Christmas Day like it was like the playoffs, like they start sitting guys early December to make sure they play on Christmas Day. Because I hate Christmas Day and someone being missing and it's a blowout. I hate blowouts on Christmas Day. It always happens.
Somebody always is just not in it.
Yeah, so hopefully everyone is there. That would be exciting. NFL playoffs, like you said, guys are coming back. Watson is back. Gonna be exciting. Great year for sports. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for coming back with us. Sorry we were gone for so long. We had life stuff, but we're back. Turn notifications on, subscribe, all the good stuff. Catch us on Instagram. And we will see you guys next time.